बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवारधारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवारधारी यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनारंजना यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनारंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवारधारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवारधारी यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनारंजना यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनारंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Gaura Premanande Hari Haribol. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacacharya Stuttarashata Shishima His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We don't have it on the board, huh? Okay. For those of you who have a phone, it's Srimad Bhagavatam 4, chapter 30, text 34. It's actually a famous verse, as I found out. It comes 2 times in Bhagavatam, and 1 time it comes actually almost 3 times, 2 times exactly the same, and 1 time a little bit in different wording. And maybe some of you know the verse. Tulayama lavenapi, Tulayama lavenapi, na svargam na punarbhavam, na svargam na punarbhavam, Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya, Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya, Martyanam Kimuta Shishaha, Martyanam Kimuta Shishaha, Tulayam Lavenapi, na svargang na punarbhavam, Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya, Martyanam Kimuta Shishaha.
Svargamna punarbhava Bhagavat Sanghi Sangasya Vartanati Mutasisya
Tulayama lavenapi Nasvargamna punarbhavam Bhagavat Sangha Sangasya Matyanam Kimuta Shishaha.
Anyone? Mataji? Or Sundar Chocolate?
Tulayama
lavenapi
Nasvargamna punarbhavam Bhagavat Sanghi Sangasya Matyanam Kimuta Shishaha.
Any Mataji ones? So word for word translation. Tulayama. We compare. Lavena. With a moment. Api. Even. Na. Not. Svargam. Attainment of the heavenly planets. Na. Not. Apunabhavam. Merging into the Brahman effulgence. Bhagavat, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sanghi, with associates. Sangasya, of association. Martyanam, of persons who are destined to die. Kimuta, how much less? Ashishaha, benedictions. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Even a moment's association with a pure devotee cannot be compared to being transferred to heavenly planets or even merging into the Brahman effulgence in complete liberation. For living entities who are destined to give up the body and die, association with pure devotees is the highest benediction. Purport. The great saint Prabodhananda Saraswati, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, has stated, Kaivalyam narakayate tridasha pur akasha pushpayate. For a pure devotee, Kaivalya, merging into the existence of Brahman, the Brahman effulgence, is no better than living in hell. Similarly, he considers promotion to heavenly planets, Tridasha Pur, just another kind of phantasmagoria. In other words, a pure devotee does not place much value in the destination of the karmis, the heavenly planets, or in the destination of the jnanis, merging into the Brahman effulgence. A pure devotee considers a moment's association with another pure devotee to be far superior to residing in a heavenly planet or merging in the Brahman effulgence. The topmost benediction for those who are living in the material world and are subjected to the repetition of birth and death, transmigration, is association with pure devotees. One should search out such pure devotees and remain with them. That will make one completely happy, even though living within the material world. This Krishna consciousness movement is started for that purpose. A person who is overly affected materially may take advantage of this movement and become intimately associated with it. In this way, the confused and frustrated inhabitants of this material world may find the highest happiness in association with devotees. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tvang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Tulayam Lavena Pi Na Swargang Na Punarbhavam Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya Martyanam Kim Uta Shishaha. Even a moment's association with a pure devotee cannot be compared to being transferred to heavenly planets or even merging into the Brahman effulgence in complete liberation. For living entities who are destined to give up the body and die, association with pure devotees is the highest benediction. Hare Krishna. So, as mentioned before, I was doing that research in the Veda base. I saw that this verse is coming in the first canto as well, and there it is spoken by the sages of Naimisharanya to Sutta Goswami. So they are glorifying him, and they are basically saying that we are performing all these fire sacrifices, but actually compared to what the association with you, it's useless. And I know many of you have heard that verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastre Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoi, which basically expresses exactly the same as is said in that verse. And interestingly, just after that verse, this verse is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we know that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he tried to establish the absolute truth by writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he of course composed his own verses in Bengali, but he also quoted always verses from the scriptures. So even though we know this verse better, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastre Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoi, is more, I think it's a more prominent verse. Actually, it's obvious that Krishnadas Kaviraj, he took the inspiration for that verse from this one. And Srila Prabhupada, he quotes Prabodhananda Saraswati in the purport, how he says that these two goals, one the goal of the karmi and one the goal of the jnani, the karmi, he tries to improve his material situation so that he can enjoy. And we know the highest possible situation to enjoy is the heavenly planets. Svargam is in this verse. Na Svargam. So it said no Svargam. No heavenly planets. That's the goal of the karmis, and the goal of the jnanis is Kaivalya. Here they said na punar bhavam, meaning not to having to take birth again. So both of these ultimate goals of the karmi and the jnani, they are not comparable with the association of a Vaishnava. And here in this verse one word is used, it's called tulayam. You know probably what is this?
Compare.
Hmm?
Compare.
Yet is compare, and also it actually a noun, it can be used as a noun, tula. And in India you see it quite often when you go to the sabji and the falwala,
Yeah, that they are doing.
the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tula is the scale. So literally it means you cannot find anything which will put a balance to sadhu sangha. No, in India when you buy vegetables, then they put whatever vegetables on one side and then they take these weights to level it. And if you put sadhu sangha on one side, it's so heavy, you can put whatever you like, it will never go equal. It will not balance. And of course we all know philosophically why this is the case, because both goals, Svargam, heavenly planets, material enjoyment, and on the other hand liberation, they are in a way temporary and they don't completely satisfy the self. When we enjoy in the material world, we can only satisfy our body and our mind, but we cannot satisfy our soul. So even if we go to the heavenly planets, we will not be happy. That's maybe difficult for us to understand, but that's the understanding. Of course, the inhabitants of the heavenly planets, they don't know this because they are so absorbed in material enjoyment that they cannot even think that there is something higher. But that's the understanding, that actually they are not happy, not satisfied. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Abrahma bhuvanar loka. It's actually suffering from the highest to the lowest planet. And then on the other hand, if we break out from the cycle of birth and death, then we are also not happy. And Srila Prabhupada gave that example of the plane which flies, but at some point you have to land. The plane cannot unlimitedly remain in the sky, but the plane at one point has to land. And what does it mean for the living entity? It means the living entity is looking for love, is looking for happiness, which is experienced in relationship, and a soul which is attaining liberation. At some point that desire will become stronger and stronger, and then again they will come to this world. And the only way how we can satisfy our desires by really developing the relationship with Krishna. So that's, I think, clear for all of us. And I thought, because Prabhupada makes some profound point in this purport, he speaks about the Krishna consciousness movement, or ISKCON in some way. And I think to make it relevant for us, we can speak a little bit about this. So we understand that Krishna consciousness is the only thing that can make us happy. There is a verse now in Bhagavatam which expresses that. Yayatma suprasidati. That only Krishna consciousness can really completely satisfy the self, nothing else. But now we are in this world, we are conditioned and we are not Krishna conscious, so how do we become Krishna conscious? And the system, as it is established by Krishna himself, is that he sends somebody who is Krishna conscious to this world, and he will then give it. And Gaur Govinda Swami, he gave a very nice example. He said the sadhu, the pure devotee, he is sent by Krishna to this world, and what he does, he binds a rope around the lotus feet of Krishna, and he comes down with the rope. And he gives the rope to the conditioned living entity, so that we can go up. And Krishna, he sends many, many different devotees. Actually unlimited. He sends everywhere in the whole creation. And of course for us the most important is Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, he came to give us this kind of rope, and he gave it in the form of this Krishna consciousness movement, this ISKCON. So there is many devotees who come to this material world and many different ropes. But every rope is also particularly different in the way that this devotee is giving you his rope. It's not that he's giving somebody else's rope, but Prabhupada, he gave his rope. And of course it's not only his rope, but what is meant by rope, it means the parampara. So there is different streams coming from Krishna, different paramparas. And we are in a line which goes in a particular way. The Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And Srila Prabhupada, what I would like to speak a little bit about is, he speaks about how what is mentioned in this verse, that kind of association which is the ultimate perfection of life, which is the most valuable treasure, it can be found in this society. And here it's even said in the verse that just by one moment of association with a pure devotee, one can attain perfection. And this word is lavena. I think lavena, how much is it? 1/12 of a second, yeah. So it's only very short. So in a way it's very hopeful, it's very encouraging, but then I think all of us, we also make this experience that we probably have had association with pure devotees, but we are not at the level of Krishna consciousness. And also we see many have come to this society, but then they left again. And they also must have, at least from an external point of view, they must have had the opportunity for that association. But then they left. So probably it's good to understand in depth that understanding of association, what's actually association. When we hear this, it sometimes sounds very utopian, no? How is it possible that just such a short moment can give you this ultimate perfection? And especially because we see ourselves, we have association, we listen to Srila Prabhupada, we meet exalted devotees in this movement, but somehow it's not really going forward as fast as here. It's not happening in a blink of an eye. Srila Prabhupada, he explains, and it's explained in all the scriptures, that there's two kinds of association. One is Vapu and one is Vani. And Vapu means to have the physical association. Like, so we all are very eager to have physical association with our gurus and senior devotees. And that is one kind. And then the other one is Vani. Vani means to associate with the teachings, the instructions of the spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada actually is a very good example how by a very short moment, or not maybe a moment, but by a short amount of time of this kind of association, one comes to the perfection, the perfected platform. And we know this from Srila Prabhupada himself. He explains that when he, and we can read it in his biography, when he met his spiritual master for the first time, Prabhupada says in that first meeting he was completely convinced that that is my spiritual master, and that the instruction coming from my spiritual master, that's the goal of my life, that's the mission of my life. And Srila Prabhupada says that his spiritual master, he told him immediately when he saw, you should go to the West or you should preach in English language. That was actually the instruction. And Prabhupada challenged him, or he asked him, how can we do that if we are not liberated, if India is under the rule of the Great Britain? But Bhaktisiddhanta immediately, he convinced him by strong argument. And Prabhupada later on explained to his disciples that that moment he completely accepted him in his heart as his spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada also explained one time in Mayapur, when he arrived, he didn't go to, when you go to Mayapur, you go to ISKCON and you come by car, then you pass the Chaitanya Mat, which is the Samadhi of Bhaktisiddhanta. And Prabhupada, he didn't stop, he just went to the temple and he was going to the ISKCON temple. And then some disciples of Prabhupada came and they said, Prabhupada, your God brothers are criticizing you that you didn't go to the Samadhi of your Guru Maharaj. And Prabhupada's reply was, do they think that I'm ever separated from my spiritual master? Actually, I'm always with my spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada, he actually pointed out that he had Vapu association, but now his spiritual master is not here in Vapu, but still he is constantly in that association. That means he's constantly in that Vani association. And how can one be constantly in Vani? Because Vapu, we know, is very nice, but Srila Prabhupada points out that Vani is more, Vapu is very nice, but Vani is more important, because Vani, that's actually the real association. There is this example of the fly, the fly can also, when there is a, let's say, Srila Prabhupada is sitting and a fly flies around and sits on his lap. The fly is most close to the spiritual master, to Srila Prabhupada. But how much association does the fly have? Of course, the fly gets a lot of benefit by getting in touch with the pure devotee, but the fly will not be able to assimilate what the spiritual master is trying to give. And in a similar way, we see human beings, they can come close to the pure devotee, but if they are like a fly, they're just coming close, then they don't get that benefit. And that's why Prabhupada says actually Vani is more important. And Vapu is for some time, but Vani is eternally. A Vani association, Vani relationship can become everlasting, eternal, like in the case of Srila Prabhupada. But how can we cultivate that Vani if we understand that this is more important? How can we actually cultivate that? And in preparation of this class, I was somehow, also because we are reading today the 10 offenses against the chanting of the holy name, something came to me which I never really... I always thought about how Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada used to translate and explain certain things in a very particular way often. Like when he gives a purport, he always speaks, sometimes he speaks in a way which is in the beginning difficult to understand. And in the 10 offenses, the first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Jai Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra Mai ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. And we know that these 10 offenses, they come from the Vedic scriptures, and I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he quotes them. And I don't remember what's the Sanskrit of the first Vaishnava. There is a Sanskrit for what Prabhupada translates. But Srila Prabhupada, why does he translate it that way? To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. So there is many words which are important, and one... Sadhuninda. Yes. Sadhuninda. So Sadhuninda is very concise. Sadhu, holy person, and Ninda means to offend, to blaspheme. But Srila Prabhupada, he translates sadhu as the pure devotee who has dedicated his life for the propagation of the holy name of the Lord. And basically Srila Prabhupada, what he does, he is defining what is actually a Vaishnava. And we know, if we go deep into the scriptures, there is different levels of Vaishnava, but the pure Vaishnava is the one, at least in our line, in our understanding, as followers of Srila Prabhupada, a pure devotee is one who has completely dedicated himself to spreading the holy name of the Lord. And in this word dedication, we can already understand so much how does it work that the pure devotee is always in the association of his spiritual master, of the pure devotee. Because dedication means you take your whole being and put it in the service of that particular objective. So if Srila Prabhupada says, I'm always in the association of my spiritual master, means that he has taken his whole being, his body, mind and words, to fulfill the instruction of his spiritual master, to preach in the English language, and in that sense to spread the glories of the holy name. And we know that the whole parampara is like, it's like a line, and it goes up to, in our case, Mahaprabhu, who came to spread the holy name of the Lord. So that is the secret of success. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Bhagavad Gita that one should take the words of the pure devotee and make them one's life and soul. And if one does, then one will always be on the spiritual platform. And how does that work? Again, we can go deeper and deeper into that philosophical understanding, and we find in the Bhagavad Gita another quote where it says, Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakriti ashrita, that the pure devotee, the Mahatma, he's not situated in the material world, but he's constantly absorbed in the spiritual energy. Daivim prakritim ashrita. And the pure devotee, the Mahatma, that's how he is always in the association of Krishna, his spiritual master, and he's always in the spiritual world. Because he's connected, then wherever he goes, even though externally it looks like the pure devotee is in America or in India or in the UK, he's actually not in America, India or the UK. He's in the spiritual world. He's always with his spiritual master and Krishna. So when we hear this in the purport, that this society, this movement is made in order to give that kind of association, we understand that on one hand we come to ISKCON and we get the opportunity to associate personally with the pure devotee. And Srila Prabhupada, he writes in the purport, One should search out such a pure devotee and remain with him. Remain with him. And yes, we come to ISKCON, we remain with the devotees. Now we have His Holiness Bhakti Mukunda Maharaj. No, it's so wonderful. We can hear from him and we can be close to him. We hear, and we just by seeing him we feel uplifted. But the Vani consideration is also included here, that we remain with the pure devotees. So it's not enough that we come physically to ISKCON, but we have to bring our heart into ISKCON. Otherwise, as mentioned in the beginning, so many people have come and so many people have gone. And so many people have had association with pure devotees, but so many people have again left. And the reason is because ultimately that Vani Sangha has to be cultivated, which means the dedication for the service to the spiritual master has to be cultivated properly in the heart. One has to dedicate himself to the mission of the spiritual master. And the spiritual master gives one instruction. I want you to do this, I want you to do that. And for the disciple, that's the biggest treasure, because that's his Vani. That's the key for the association with the spiritual master. So that's all very exalted, no? We speak about Srila Prabhupada and we try to follow in his footsteps. But before we end, I would like to make one point which also came to my mind. I find it's relevant. Because in reality, we are not on that level. At least I am not on that level where I'm always completely dedicated. Most of the time I'm not dedicated. I'm not meditating on my spiritual master and Prabhupada and Krishna. And I'm somehow absorbed in my own conditioned existence, trying to understand how can I become happy, how can I enjoy, how can I lord over. So then the question comes, how can a conditioned living entity come to ISKCON, come to the association, and maybe that living entity is not pure, but then we also see sometimes a very conditioned living entity comes in the association of devotees and sticks around for 50 years, and you think, wow, that to me it seems that person is very, how come the person is even a devotee? And sometimes you see very exalted personalities coming and a week later they walk out again. It's very nice to think about this. What's actually what allows you to be in the association of the pure devotee? What allows you to be included in the internal energy, in the association of the internal energy? And Srila Prabhupada, he writes in the Nectar of Instruction that the advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the practitioner. That it's not how much knowledge you have, it's not how much skills you have, it's not what else, how rich you are, how beautiful you are, but it's your attitude. What is attitude? To be humble. To be humble. Uh-huh. You also said something? Und was hast du gesagt? The mood. Okay, attitude is the mood. Yeah, it's the mood. And you said Trinada Pisunichana. Yeah, I think it's so nice now that we also hear that Trinada Pisunichana, that verse in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Somebody said you should make a necklace out of it and string it around your neck. But then we could discuss about what does that mean? Because we also have seen many devotees who, they're very humble, but then at some point when something happens, they run away and say, ISKCON, it's just a bunch of neophytes. And so of course the topic, I will not go there. I was thinking about one very particular aspect of the attitude, and Srila Prabhupada, I just listened to a class this morning, he speaks about this very important point, and it's very nicely connected. He quotes Tatvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. That we come to the pure devotee, and the pure devotee, he can give us Krishna consciousness. But then Prabhupada says, don't come here and ask questions if you are not surrendered. Pariprashnena is the question, but tatvidi pranipatena. And Prabhupada then says, just look, he's in India, and he says, just look at all these Westerners. Whenever they see me, they offer flat dandavat. And they never stop, they never think, oh, now I have done in the morning, now I stop. No, they do it 1,000 times in a day whenever they see me. That is pariprashnena, Srila Prabhupada says. So that's one aspect of surrender, of course, physically. But surrender, the attitude means I completely depend, and it doesn't matter if it's easy or if it's difficult. Somehow or other I made a decision that I depend on Srila Prabhupada. I depend on my spiritual master, and I depend on the association of devotees. And no matter what happens with me or with others or around me, I will just stick to it. And I think for those who have, when I was meditating about this aspect, it came to my mind how just in the last few months I started to do these tours in the temple, and then school classes come. And when I reflected about this aspect of attitude, it completely makes sense to me. My experience with school classes is that, you know, you have like 20 students, and each and every one is different, and somehow or other you can feel the attitude so immediately. You can feel the attitude of each and every one, and dependent on the attitude, you feel inclined to actually share yourself, to explain, or not. No, some I feel like I'm not inspired. Some I feel like I want to, you know, spend the whole day and try to give whatever I can. And it's because the attitude is nice or not nice. So we can, to end it, sum it up, we can come to this society, we are in the association of devotees, and we are very fortunate. But obviously to actually remain in the association and take the full benefit, we have to understand how do we take an association, also how we give association. And the Vani association, of course, is very important, with Srila Prabhupada and our Guru. And because we are not perfect, it depends on our attitude, if we can actually remain in the association and then slowly increase, step by step. And it doesn't help if we just study books all day, or even it doesn't help to run around all day and do service if the attitude is not correct, if we don't do it to please Srila Prabhupada. It also doesn't help to just be nice. You know, I'm just be nice. But if you don't have the attitude to please Srila Prabhupada, Krishna and the devotees, then at some point the devotees will feel, you know, okay, it's a nice person, but what's the substance behind it? I don't need nice words, I don't need a nice look, I need your surrender, your dedication. So these are some thoughts that came to my mind, and this verse is, I feel very honored that the verse came up. Yesterday when I saw the verse, you already saw in my face, no, I was very excited, because this verse is well known and it's a nice topic, very relevant. And why do the Prachetas say that? Because Vishnu came on Garuda after they performed the austerities, and he asks them, what kind of benediction do you want? And they say, actually, we heard Maharaj was saying this verse that like when you come to a desire tree, you don't have to go anywhere else because you can have everything from that one tree. So similarly, by coming to Krishna, we don't need anything else. But then they say, actually, please give us the association of your devotee, because that's where I can be connected to you. And we know this from many exalted devotees, that when they get a chance to ask for a benediction, they will always ask for association with devotees. That's the, They don't ask, I want to be in the spiritual world as a gopi or a gopa, but they ask, wherever I go, I want to somehow be in the association of the devotees. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur even says, let me take birth as a dog in the association of the Vaishnava, so I can hear your glories and I can take prasad. Hare Krishna. So maybe we should also mold our life in that way. How can I remain in the association of devotees? Just one last thing comes to mind now that I see Sundar Jagannath. It reminded me of Devaki. Devaki Mataji once told me, devotees, they stay in the temple and then they want to get married, and they think about all kinds of things. They think about, okay, I want to work like this, and I want to do that. But they don't think that, okay, now I got married, now let me see how I can situate myself in a way that I'm close to the devotees. And she said that's one of the main problems, that grihastas, they don't have the priorities right. That they think to have enough money, a good job, and a good school for children, whatever. Then that becomes the priority, but then they give up the association, and then the whole spiritual life stagnates and becomes blocked. So we all have this duty, to make this our first priority in life. How can I be in the association of devotees? And it's natural that Krishna, he will help us. No matter what is the difficulty, he will give us a situation where we can be in the association, because he also wants us to be. And if we want, it becomes very nice. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maybe we can ask some senior devotees. I actually asked the senior devotees if they want to give class, but so far they didn't agree. If you want to say something, yes, Susevani Madhavi Mataji.
You spoke about humility.
Yes.
And I took one book, this news, and this title is Prema Bhakti Chandrika from Narottam Das Thakur. Because I read Professor Papaji Maharaj, he said, if you want to have love to Krishna, you buy 2 books, and this is Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana from Narottam Das Thakur. So this is not a big book, so I took this with me, and I read there how Narottam Das Thakur is writing about humility. He said, real humility is not different from Prema Bhakti. So he defines these devotees, they feel so low, like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I'm lower than the worm in the stool, and they feel really like that, but it's a state of prema. So we can see how far we are from real humility.
Thank you for sharing. It's very profound. That it's the same like prema.
Yes.
It's not different. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for the lecture. Yesterday verse that I was reading was also speaking about how when the pure devotees come together and they chant about the glory glories of the Lord, and Srila Prabhupada was mentioning 3-4 times pure devotee in the commentary, and I was thinking, what about us, like, who is the pure devotee? And then I came to one verse from Bhagavad Gita 10:9. I will just read the Sanskrit and the translation, because Srila Prabhupada explains. I was thinking how we could know who is pure devotee, and what is our chance, what is my chance. It's 9th verse from the 10th chapter. Machitama Kuda Prana Bodayanta Parasparam Tatayanta Shamam Nityam Tushanti Charamanti Cha. The thoughts of my pure devotee dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. And Srila Prabhupada says on the beginning, pure devotee, whose characteristics are mentioned here, engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So then I was thinking, if I see somebody completely dedicated, serving the Lord in his daily time, and who is very much satisfied to speak with other devotees about the glories of the Lord, maybe, or is probably pure devotee. So we could find such a person. This is, I found it some hope.
Yeah.
Because also your today's verse is speaking about pure devotee.
Yeah, this is hopeful, no? That if you meet, there is devotees in ISKCON, they like to speak about Krishna, and that's one symptom. And they don't speak about anything else. Thank you, Prabhu. So thank you for your attention, and Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Kripa Sindhu Prita
Please praise Damodar Prasad. Please
Spiritual counselor. Go to the back of the room. Full dedication.
Full dedication.
Ja, aber ich bin manchmal schwitzt. Also, ich habe mein Auto gecrashed. Total schön. 7 Tage nicht geschlafen. Als ich 7 Tage nicht geschlafen habe, wie wir so schlafen, jetzt gehen.
Ich suche noch einen Fahrer für Winterthur.
Okay.
you are also from India?
No, from Sri Lanka.
Oh, okay. So you are staying here, Mataji?
Yeah, I am staying here, but I am working here, teacher.
Oh, you are working.
Yeah. But I have house, I live there. It's an hour from here.
Okay.
Yes, just for 7 I came today.
See how much beautiful this is today? Yes. Mataji, what is that you are putting on our church now?
Sarari, blessing.
Okay.
Sarari.
Because in India I never saw this thing.
In South Indian,
There is,
yeah, blessing, yeah. In Zipali.
Tipudi I went,
Yeah.
but that time my
Yeah,
president
yeah,
doctor
yeah,
never.
yeah.
Okay.
Is Sarari.
Oh.
Blessing.
You want this Shalana? Ashwini? Shalana. Actually, I would try to put on the light and
I have read forgiveness.
I'm still running ahead.
Forgiveness is a Nirvana, but she still didn't get her reason. No one, and she's
Die andere Seite. Schau mal, das Tonfeld. Das Tonfeld.
Oh.
Hast du es angekommen?
Sturm.
Flicken. Was ist wieder Flicken? Das ist so lange aber. Gell? Und?
Das liegt sehr gut gemacht heute.
Ja.
Nein?
So,
Was?
machst du so und das ist da. So. Hä? Hä? So. Das ist da nicht kann man so machen. Und dann machst du so, das ist da irgendwo dran. Dann kann man alles zugeschlagen.
Bis jetzt ist nie jemand gesprochen. Schnellste. So.
Okay, was ist das?
Ja, genau. Nein, genau.
Okay, ich will jetzt Platz.
Sag ich nicht.
So, sag mal.
Mensch. Tulsi Maharaj, Prem Prem Maharaj, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,